My name is Alana O, and I'm the witch and the artist behind the Grim Bear. Welcome if you're new here, and if you join me from my other socials, thank you so much and welcome to my YouTube channel. Last time we were here, I was speaking with you about my witchcraft practice, how I consider myself to be a lazy witch, and how my witchcraft practice is very practical. I practice lazy witchcraft, and I want to take a deeper dive into why I chose this practice. So if this is a path that you may find yourself on, you want your practice to be more practical, you want to find more magic in the mundane, then you might want to follow me on here. So last time we were here, one of the questions that I asked was for you to write down your spiritual beliefs, because your spiritual beliefs may change from this moment right now and to the future. I wanted to share some of my spiritual beliefs with you all. So I just wrote these down and I'm going to read them to you. So if you see me looking away, I am the most important aspect in my practice. I am the altar. I am the tools. I am the magic. I am the energy. I am the universe. The universe is me. Above all else, I believe my intuition is the root of my craft. I can create an altar anywhere, but the most important altar exists within me. Your witchcraft practice should fit into your life and it should be personal to you. So everything should be working for you. Everything is working for me in my witchcraft practice. So everything should be working for you in your witchcraft practice. So when we're talking about lazy witchcraft, we're talking about really practical witchcraft tips. You should go ahead and take what works in your practice, things that are easy for you to incorporate into your practice, things that are safe for you to incorporate into your practice. For instance, if you live in a place where you cannot use incense, then that doesn't have to be part of your practice. It can be part of your practice later on in the future, or find an alternative like a air diffuser and essential oils. If you cannot light candles wherever you are, or you can't use candles for any number of reasons, that's okay. You can use a LED candle, or you can find another means to practice that particular spell work or ritual. You have to make things that work for you, not having to go out of your way because I have to have this color candle, I have to burn it at this exact moment, the moon has to be at this exact phase. Those things are not incorporated here in such a harsh manner. If we want to do a working and it's a Thursday and we want to do a working for our business, that's great. That's awesome. If it's Monday, I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to do it. If it's Saturday, I'm still going to do it. I might do it differently, but I'm still going to do it. So that's part of my witchcraft practice. That's what I'm sharing with you guys. Let's take a moment and let's talk about what witchcraft is. So witchcraft is a spiritual practice of energy manipulation. You are the most important tool in your witchcraft. You can actually perform spells without outside tools. You can actually manifest by yourself. This is what you need right here. You're what you need. The energy that flows through you can be transferred throughout the universe and actually can be transmuted as well. Energy cannot be destroyed. Energy can only be changed. And so that's what we're doing, whether you call your practice witchcraft or you call your spiritual practice by another name, we are manipulating energy. That's what we're doing. Witchcraft is not evil. Witches are not evil. That is a stigma that was created. It's a form of fear mongering. Those labels of evil, demonic, devil worshippers, or the suggestion that all witches go to hell, it's just a way to oppress witches and spiritual healers, and also a way to suppress spiritual practices, especially if you have a personal spiritual practice. For instance, my witchcraft is very personal to me because it's for me. Your witchcraft practice is for you. So those kind of labels and stigmas are really just built to suppress people having their own personal spiritual practice. In reality, witches are real people like you and I, and they're just people who practice witchcraft and identify as a witch. The symbols and tools used in witchcraft are not evil. There is one that we see very often in modern witchcraft, which is a protective symbol, which is the pentacle. That's not an evil symbol. You may not understand it, and that's okay, especially if you're new here or you're here because you're curious. But just know that these witchcraft tools are not evil. Let us consider a hammer. A hammer can build a house, and if I took a hammer and I built a house for you, you'd probably think I was super amazing. However, a hammer can also break a window, and if I took a hammer and broke your window, you'd probably think I was awful. The hammer is not evil. The hammer is just a tool. It's just being used for different purposes. You could, I guess, say that those purposes are right or wrong, but that is another discussion for another day, because we also make the definition of what is right or wrong within ourselves, but that's a whole nother thing. Let's just say that some witches might use witchcraft in a way that you don't agree with, but sometimes you have to break a window. So let's talk about spiritual burnout. You've probably heard that term burnout online, and that refers to the exhaustion people feel when they feel like they have to create content and post content every day to stay relevant. And it can get overwhelming really quickly. There is a whole setup that goes into creating content. There's editing. There is a lot of work that goes into all of these things. And a lot of times, especially like smaller creators, we're just doing this to get our face out there. That's kind of the end of it. You definitely have larger creators who are able to monetize these things, but you shouldn't think that everyone that you're seeing online is monetized. A large number of people are not. They're just trying to get to that point. So all of this content creation, it actually takes a lot of energy and a lot of work, and we also can see a version of that in spirituality, a spiritual burnout. And this can be not just for witchcraft practices, this can be for any spiritual practice. We are specifically discussing this for witchcraft. So it's important for us to talk about this right now because of the popularity of Witchcraft Online. We are shown things online that are really planned out, that have taken a lot of time for that person to make this spell look so pretty and so beautiful, and now you get to see it for 60 seconds and enjoy it. In reality, that probably took a long time for that practitioner to set all of that up, to set up a camera, to make a plan of what visuals you're going to see, to edit those visuals together. All of those things were planned out and took a lot of time and energy. In reality, witchcraft doesn't always look like that. But when we're seeing that constantly and we're trying to mirror that in our own practice, that causes us sometimes to have spiritual burnout. That causes us to say, I really can't do this, or maybe this isn't for me, because you were trying to make your practice look like what you saw online. And I think everyone's guilty of that, especially if you're new and you're excited, you want to get all the tools, you want to get all the stuff, you want to do all the rituals. It's a rabbit hole, and anybody can get caught going down it. Even if you're a seasoned practitioner, even if you've been around for a long time, sometimes we get a new book and we don't want to put it down, and we're going and we're going, and every free moment that we have, our nose is in the book, and then days have gone by and you have to take a step back and you have to rest. Online, there is also this unwritten expectation that we should be practicing witchcraft every single day. It should be part of our daily practice. And for some people, that's true. For some people, they do practice every day. It's part of their everyday practice, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that that's for you. It doesn't mean it's for you, because your witchcraft practice should be about you and it should be fitting into your life. Your life shouldn't be revolving around, how am I going to cast a spell today? What am I going to cast a spell for today? Because it's not necessary. It's not necessary every single day. We all have our own little rituals that we do, whether you get up in the morning and you have a cup of coffee, or you have a cup of tea, or you have a cup of water, or you have a cup of juice. We all have our daily rituals that we do, whether we are acknowledging that they're spiritual or not. We all have things that we do every day. With my lazy witchcraft practice, I make those things part of my witchcraft practice. You don't have to, if that doesn't work for you. If you just want to have a cup of coffee because you're having a cup of coffee, then do that. We have to acknowledge this because it's so prevalent online, and we have to acknowledge that rest is a way to conserve energy. And because we use energy in our witchcraft practice, especially if you're doing rituals, you're going to find once the ritual's over, you're exhausted. Rest conserves that energy. And at the end of the day, your energy is not just to give out to everyone. Your energy should be serving you first, and then everyone else. But first, your energy should serve yourself. And for me, I've experienced a sort of spiritual burnout when I felt like I had to practice every day, when I felt like every time I practiced it needed to be a ritual. Certain things needed to be in place. I needed to have certain tools and certain items to do these things, when in reality, I didn't really need those things and my energy was being misplaced. I felt like I was getting results, but not the results that I wanted, not the results that I had originally intended. So that's very important when we're talking about witchcraft and where your energy and your focus is being placed at. We as a community need to remove that shame of, you didn't do a spell today, you didn't wear your hat today, didn't wave a wand today. Yeah, we need to remove that stigma that exists within ourselves. And in reality, we need to set our own standards. We need to validate ourselves. So your spiritual practice, by any name that you call it, should not be a chore. It shouldn't be something where you're dragging your feet like, oh, I really don't want to do this right now. That shouldn't be part of your spiritual practice. Your spiritual practice should be something that you want to go to, that you want to do. Whether you call your spiritual practice witchcraft, whether you call it by another name, it shouldn't feel like a chore to you. It shouldn't feel like something you have to check off on a list. It should be somewhere where you're going, where you feel like you're enlightened, you feel like you have energy, you feel like this is what I want, this is where I want to be. I want to be at this place. If you feel like your spiritual practice is a chore, if you feel like you're dragging your feet, there's likely things that you need to change about it. There's likely things that you need to pivot on, maybe rearrange, and maybe take into consideration not only what you believe, but what you think is giving you results. What do you think is successful for you within your spiritual practice, and what the purpose of your spiritual practice is. What you feel like the purpose is. The purpose may change. It may change from what it is right now to the future. That may change. Your witchcraft should be enjoyable. It should be something that you're gravitating to because it's so personal to you. It's so special to you. It is sacred to you because it's for you. It's not for everybody else. Some people are going to get it. Some people are going to highly relate. Some people are going to feel it. And then other people are not going to get it. They're not going to understand. But why are you doing that? And that's okay. That's okay. Because it's not for them. It's for you. Sometimes I will light a candle when I'm getting ready. Especially if I'm getting ready for an event or I feel like I want to look really radiant. Sometimes I'll light a candle while I'm getting ready in the room with me. That is part of my spiritual practice. It doesn't necessarily have to be part of yours, but that's something that I look forward to and I enjoy doing. It already lightens my mood because I've already turned on the light and now I'm gonna get glamorous. So if you've made it this far, you already have a spiritual practice, you already have a witchcraft practice. It is already sacred because it belongs to you. It's already sacred. You don't need anybody else to validate that for you, and you don't really need to explain that to anybody else. One thing that we can take into consideration, which would be great to write down right now, is what does wisdom look like to you? A lot of us are on a spiritual journey. We're trying to receive enlightenment. We're going further down and further down the rabbit hole. What does wisdom look like to you? What does enlightenment look like to you? What does success look like to you? Because the answer is going to be different depending on who you ask, but it's most important that you know that for yourself. What are you trying to achieve? What are you on the road to? Are you on the road to wisdom? Are you on the road to enlightenment? Are you on the road to success? All of them? What do those things mean to you? Just something to take into consideration. Until next time. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and thank you if you've made it this far in the video. Really appreciate you. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel for more videos about witchcraft, and we're going to keep talking about witchcraft and witch tips. Thank you. Bye guys.